Welcome everyone. This is my name is Abdullah El Talib Mosi Bey, and this is my new book. It's been out for about almost 3 months. It's called Moors and Masonry. I actually spent about 20 years of research working on this book. Now, what I do is I make the connection between Moors and Masonry. Now, on the front cover, I have most people, because of European social engineering, think that this landmass is the United States. And the general public also thinks that the Star Spangled Banner, the red, white, and blue, is the American flag. And we already understand why that's. We'll go into that as well. Now, on the front cover, what I do is I actually place our people, Moors, in a proper perspective. This is an act of nationalization, restoration, and decolonization. Now, all this part of the landmass is not all of America. It is a portion of America. North America, South America, Central America, and the Jordan Islands. In a couple months, since I'm on that topic, real quickly, I'll show you the title. American or United States citizen. And I'll be back to break that down when the book comes out. Looking at about maybe 2 to 3 months. American or United States citizen. I actually wrote this book in 2006. So I added about 100 pages to the book. The first title is The Deceptive Meaning Attributed to the Name America and American, How the Europeans Falsely Claimed the Land of the Moors. I thought that title was a little bit too long, so I wanted a shorter title to make it more marketable, to connect with the people. So a sister suggested this title, American, question mark, or United States citizen, question. Now, we know the most general public would look at it as, why is the title? They mean the same thing. Don't they mean the same thing? An American is a United States citizen. A United States citizen is an American. You're going to hear that. You'll probably hear that in most parts of the world. That's because of European social engineering. All right? Now, this book, Moors and Masonry, Part 2, I'm looking to put this out in the fall of this year. Restoration, restoring the federal government and the imperial divan to the Moors, colonization and secession. So on the front cover, that's why this images are good. On the front cover, I have here. This represents, you see here, denationalization and state cession. So when you see, you'll often see a lot of this during the Egyptian New Year, which is the July 4th. They're called the Independence Day. But it's actually the Egyptian Union actually did that, and you can go on to YouTube to look that up. This represents colonization and secession. So the Europeans actually are claiming our land, and this part, what I do is going back to restoration, is place the Moorish flag, which is the American flag. This is the Star Spangled Banner. This is the American flag. The name American does not come from the name America Vespucci. The name American is actually, you have Maghreb, Morocco. So Morocco and America are related linguistically. There's a shift in pronunciation, where there's shift in vowels. So when I say America, Morocco, America is Morocco. Morocco is America, one and the same. But we've been conditioned through European social engineering is to interchange the name American with the generic term United States, as though they have the same meaning, same origin. If you were to ask Donald Trump, are you native to the land? Donald Trump will say no, answer no. Donald Trump, are you indigenous to the land? Donald Trump would answer no. Donald Trump, are you aboriginal to the land? Donald Trump would answer no. Donald Trump, are you the original people of the land? Donald Trump will answer no. Using that syllogism, Therefore, Donald Trump, you're not an American. It's just that simple. It is that simple. It is just that simple. Let's not complicate this. It's that simple. What the issue is, because of European colonization and social engineering, the native people, millions of the native people who inhabit this part of Morocco, America, living in the cities. Millions of the native people who inhabit this part of Morocco, America, who live in the cities, are classified as black, Negro, colored, African American, Latino, Spanish, Puerto Rican. They are millions of the natives of the land. However, they don't know that they're natives. They've been conditioned to call the natives, they think that the natives live on reservations. They'll say, well, I'm African American. They are Native Americans. Yeah, they are American Indians. They're the original people of the land. I'm from Africa. My ancestors came over here, you know, the white man brought my ancestors over here in the hells of holes of ships. My ancestors suffered great atrocity. We're going to go into that. We're going to show through documents, we're going to challenge that claim. All right? So I'm just laying some foundations and putting things in, giving people a proper concept so they can understand this cover. If you were to go to my website, this website is where you can order the book, moorsandmasonry.org. You can order the book, Moors and Masonry, on moorsandmasonry.org. You can order the printed version or the PDF version. The book is $50. You order the book. All right, so you go to the moorsandmasonry.org and you'll see the printed version or in the digital PDF version. And also you can order this book, the PDF version. Let's see this book here. Just the PDF version available. I have to get more printed, but right now the PDF version for $20, it can be ordered online. That's for the PDF version of the Illuminati, the illumination of the mind, the ancient musical scale, pineal gland, melanin, DNA, and cellular memory. Continue right along. Underneath the landmass, I have the 4 Moorish national federal buildings. You have the Moorish Supreme Court building, the Moorish Capitol Hill building, and the Moorish White House or Moorish Palace. Now, we've been conditioned that the Europeans are the founders of this government. We'll call them the founding fathers. You know, Thomas Jefferson, John Morris, John Jay, John Hancock. We'll call them the founding fathers. We've been conditioned to, you know, they control the literature. The Europeans control the literature, the legislation of the curriculum. So we've been conditioned to refer to the Europeans. They have the Constitution Center at Philadelphia, the National Constitution Center, where we see the exhibits of Europeans, you know, in position of power and rulership, you know, falsely presenting themselves as the founders of this government. So quite naturally, the native people, millions of the native people who live in the cities, classified as black, Negro, colored, Latino, Spanish, Puerto Rican, because of that social engineering, they're going to think the Europeans are the founders of the government. Absolutely. It's understandable. So this is why it's important that I do things like shows like this and continue to produce literature. As you always said, in order to change the people, must change their literature. Underneath here, I have 4 Europeans wearing Moorish fezzes. I have 3 grand monarchs, former grand monarchs of the mystic order of the veiled prophets of the enchanted realm. They use the title grand. They use our Moorish title, Grand Monarch. This Grand Monarch belonged to the Muslim temple. They use our names, Arabic Moorish names, after their temples. This Grand Monarch belonged to the El Bey temple. El Bey temple. And he was the Grand Monarch of the El Bey Temple. This Grand Monarch belonged to the Islam Temple. Oh, there's an Islam Temple. All right? There's an Islam Temple of the Grand Monarch of the Grottos, mystic order of the Veiled Prophets of the Chanted Realm, established at Hamilton, New York in 1889. Now you have the Shriners, the ancient Arabic order of the Nobles of the Mystic Shrine, now called Shriners International. They now call themselves Shriners International. They no longer use the name Ancient Arabic Order of the Nobles of the Mystic Shrine. Why did they stop using? Because decisions just don't happen. What went into the decision after over 100 years of using the name Ancient Arabic Order of the Nobles of the Mystic Shrine? Why did they stop using that? We could speculate. All right? Because of this presented to the public, this confusion that's put out there about Muslims, terrorists, Islamic extremists. So they were probably advised to no longer use the title Ancient Arabic Order of the Nobles of the Mystic Shrine. I'm speculating, which would be a good speculation. I mean, things just don't happen. There's a reason why they no longer use the title after over 100 years of using it. You're looking at over 150 years of using that title. Now, they no longer use it. And so the title that the head of the shrine uses is Imperial Potentate. And this Imperial Potentate belongs to the Morocco Temple. There's over 200 shrine temples throughout the world. And Morocco is a name of one of the temples. All right? So clearly showing. I was at Black and Nobel maybe about 3 weeks ago with the book. And there was 3 teenagers who walked in there right after school. I spent the whole day there. They walked in the store and showed them my book. And one of the female teenagers, maybe about 15 or 16 years old, she looked at the book. I didn't say anything. I just stood back. And Tyson told me to go behind the counter. So I was behind the counter and I stood back and just gave them the book. And they had them observe it to see what they thought about it, at least the title. And the 16-year-old teenager said, why are they wearing these on their heads? No, mind me, I didn't say anything. I said, that's interesting. That she recognized that the fez doesn't belong to them. Mind me, I didn't say anything. A lot of times it's just best to give them the book, have them analyze the cover. Without saying anything, have them analyze the cover. And she was analyzing the cover. And she clearly, why are they wearing this on their head? She's seen the name Muslim and El Bey and Morocco and Islam. Why are they wearing this? One of these things don't belong. Something makes you go, why are they wearing this on their heads? I thought they hate Islam and Islam terrorists and extremists, and there's over 200 shrine temples throughout the world. You also have an order called the Mystic Order, the Veiled Prophets of the Chanted Realm, and they also wear fezzes. Wow! So you have all these temples and over 200 shrine temples and over 100 grotto temples with Europeans wearing the Moorish fez. That's what the greeting is in the shrine. Assalamu alaikum. Europeans. saying as their greeting, Assalamu alaikum. You see that to them out in public, they look like you're crazy. Like, what are you talking about? Well, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. That's your greeting. Assalamu alaikum is the greeting that they have in the shrine. Right, continue right along. Now, on the back cover, and we'll get into it. I'm just we'll swirl it up here. I want you to analyze this. You say, those who, because of social engineering, will say, black people had white people in slavery? Nah. Man, that brother don't know what he's talking about. Man, black people didn't have no white people in slavery. Let me read Robert Davis, professor of Italian Renaissance history at Ohio State University. The enslavement of Europeans doesn't fit the general theme of European world conquest and colonization that is central to scholarship on the early modern era. Let me read that so it can really sink in. Robert Davis, professor of Italian Renaissance history at Ohio State University, currently a professor there. The enslavement of Europeans doesn't fit the general theme of European world conquest and colonization that is central to scholarship on the early modern era. We're going to read, I'm going to read to you, and we can continue moving on, several references, excerpts from several books, naval records, Amity records. So Amity records, state records, historical societies in England and France and the Netherlands that are supporting this claim. I have over 100 books, and I'll read some of the books. I have over 100 books, and I'm going to start through that now. I'll read some of the titles. Reference in the back of the book. Over 100 of them. Look at how many books on one page. Get an idea. Idea how expensive this is. About 6 pages here. Now look at that. Another page of references. I'm doing this so you can get a feel for the book. You get a feel. I got photos in here as well, so I want you to get a feel for the book. Bibliography. All right? Let me read. It's important that I read some of this. You have Paul Bapler, The Barbary Captivity Narrative in Early America. White Slaves, African Master, an anthology of American Barbary Captivity Narratives. Islam in Britain by Nabir Matar, M-A-T-A-R, Matar, Nobel, B-N-A-B-I-L, Islam in Britain, 1558 to 1685. So that's important. That time period. Why did I emphasize that time period? Because that is the time period of the transatlantic slave trade claim. The claim is that the Portuguese, the Spaniards, the Dutch, the French, and the English transported over 10 million Africans from the continent of Africa to North America, Central America, South America, and the Joint Islands. That's the claim. So I'm going to show you through documentary evidence that during that time period of the 15 and 1800s, we the Moors had Europeans in slavery. We the Moors seized thousands of European ships. These are European historians that have done extensive research. We talk about Amity records, state records, historical societies in France, England, the Netherlands, national archives, Library of Congress. These are a lot of primary sources, letters, tribute treaties, which I have in here. So I'm not just, and I know a lot of people are good for, and they should be, because we don't question the Europeans. I know we never challenged the curriculum that was taught to us. We've never, and I will call somebody a liar. Those people, only he may have just a few, but many of our people have never challenged the curriculum that they were taught to us in school. Most of our people, by the millions, have not challenged the curriculum that continue to be taught to their children and grandchildren. And I understand, because we don't have the basis in which to challenge. We don't have the information. We don't have information to which to challenge it. The Europeans say they're Americans. We call them Americans. They say they transported 10 million of our ancestors from the continent of Africa to America. You know, we don't have the basis to challenge that. African scholars don't even come like this. African scholars don't even talk about Africans enslaving Europeans. Dr. Ben earned a doctorate in Moorish history at the University of Barcelona in Spain. Dr. Ben is not known for Moorish history. If I say, well, people right now, people who watch, they'll be watching this, will be thrown to the floor. Dr. Ben got a, We're not talking about Dr. Ben having a paragraph or a couple of sentences in all the books. Dr. Ben's not known for that. Dr. Ben earned a doctorate in Moorish history at the University of Barcelona in Spain. Let's talk about, most people don't know what entails to get a doctorate. One of the requirements after your coursework, a major requirement, meaning you do it, you don't get it, is you have to write a dissertation. A dissertation is extensive research. You choose a topic and you do extensive research, as I did. Extensive research. And it has to be over 200 pages. A thesis is for your master's degree. So if you were getting a master's degree in history, the requirement would be a thesis. That's 60 to 80 pages. But a dissertation is over 200 pages. This is worldwide. So Dr. Ben had to, in order to get the doctorate, write a dissertation with extensive references. You're talking about extensive research. That book, his dissertation, could be a book that will help free our people. His dissertation, with that extensive research that he never put out, people don't know that he's known for Moorish history. Farrakhan said that our people are Moors. And most people don't even know this. This was in 1995, in July 1995, at Columbus, Ohio. Farrakhan spoke to over 10,000. He said this: black is used for inanimate objects. Negro zapato, black shoe. But when you're talking about human beings, you use another name. Morenos. These are black people. Let me say the quote again. Farrakhan said this in July of 1995, 3 months before the march, Million Man March, at Columbus, Ohio, 10,000. He snuck it in there. It wasn't the lecture, because it was Let Us Make Man. Remember, he did the Let Us Make Man, stop the killing. 2 years leading up to the march, Farrakhan traveled the country doing Let Us Make Man, Stop the Killing. on his at Columbus, Ohio, was one of the stops of Let Us Make Man. It was the Let Us Make Man or Stop the Killing topic, and he put it in this, like, it was just, something like an aside. He said, once again, black is used for inanimate objects. When you're talking about human beings, you use another name. But it ain't Negro. Black is used for inanimate objects. You're talking about human beings, you use another name. Negro Sabato. So he said black is used for inanimate objects. Gave an example. Negro Sabato, black shoe. So he's gave that. So Farrakhan gave a clear, crispy example of what black is used for. He said inanimate objects and gave an example. Shoe. Negro, Spanish, black, Sabato, shoe. He gave a clear-cut example. Then he said, but, when you're talking about human beings, you use another name. What ain't those? So I would ask a member of the Nation of Islam, are you inanimate? Are you an inanimate object? Huh? Are you an inanimate object? What are you talking about, Willis? Are you an inanimate object? No, I'm not. Well, why are you calling yourself black? Huh? Your leader, Farrakhan, said that black is used for inanimate objects. Your leader said, Farrakhan, when you're talking about human beings, you use another name. And he gave it, Morenos. Once again, are you an inanimate object? So I'm putting that out there. That's at Columbus, Ohio, July 1995. That's so you can get it. All right. Also, Dr. Khalid Muhammad, it's on YouTube. Dr. Khalid Muhammad said, I am a Moor, and I dare anybody to say that I'm not one. Dr. John Henry Clark said, it's on YouTube, that black, Negro, colored, and African American are not nationalities. A nationality ties a people to a history, a culture, and land. That's Dr. John Henry Clark said that. So this we black people, I gave you 4 people right there. I gave you 4. Dr. Ben, who did a doctorate in Moorish history. Farrakhan made it very clear what is black is used for, inanimate objects, and what Moor is used for, human beings. John Henry Clark clearly stating that black, Negro, colored, African American are not nationalities. All right? And Dr. Khalid Muhammad clearly said that he's a Moor, and he dares anyone to say that he's not. That's 4. And these are 4 well-known figures. All right? You thought I was known? Yeah, please. Hey, you say Abdullah Bey, who's he? All right? Continue right along. I just wanted to drop that on the people. All right? Give them something that's solid to work with. All right? We have Nabir Matar again. This is an article. English accounts of captivity in North Africa and the Middle East, 1577 to 1625. Renaissance Quarterly, 54, 2000, pages 553 to 572. W. Lord Crowles, The Royal Navy, A History from the Earliest Times to the Present, 7 volumes. London, 1897 to 1903, year it's published. This is one of the quotes in the book, in one of the volumes. At least 466 English ships with perhaps 5,600 Englishmen were taken between 1609 to 1616. White Gold, The Extraordinary Story of Thomas Pellow and Islam's 1 Million White Slaves by Giles Milton. Anthony Munday, The Admirable Deliverance of 266 Christians. Christian captives at hard labor in Algiers, 16th to 18th century. That's the 1500s to the 1800s, 1900s. International Journal of African Historical Studies. Linda Cowley, I'll reference her again. Captives, the story of Britain's pursuit of empire and how its soldiers and civilians were held captive by the dream of global supremacy, 1600 to 1850. Michael Guasco, Slaves and Englishmen, Human Bondage in the Early Modern Atlantic World. Kenneth Parker, Reading Barbary in the Modern English in Modern England, 1550 to 1685. Catherine M. Steyer, Barbary Pirates, British Slaves in the Early Modern Atlantic, 1570 to 1800. That's a PhD dissertation. PhD dissertation. That was done 2011. Robert Davis, Christian Slaves, Muslim Masters, White Slaves in the Mediterranean, the Barbary Coast, and Italy, 1500 to 1800. Ottoman territoriality versus maritime usage. The Ottoman islands and English privateering in the wars with France, 1689 to 1714. Wars at sea, 1500 to 1650. Pay attention to the years. Remember that transatlantic slave trade period, 1500 to 1800. War at sea, warfare at sea, 1500 to 1650. Maritime conflicts and the transformation of Europe. Sea wolves, pirates and Scots. Gunpowder and galleys, changing technology in Mediterranean warfare at sea in the 16th century, which is the 1500s. You have debates of the House of Commons in 1625. So you have the debates there. Just you talked about in debates. First Turks and Moors in England. Paper presented at the conference From Strangers to Citizens, London, April 5th to April 8th, 2000. Rosalind L. Newston, Elizabethan Documents, Captivity Narratives, and the Market for Foreign History Plays, English Literary Renaissance. Alberto Toniti, Piracy and the Decline of Venice, 1580 to 1650. Translated by Jeanette Poulin and Brian Poulin. Kenneth R. Andrews, Elizabethan Pirateering, English Pirateering during the Spanish War, 1585 to 1603. Christopher Lloyd, English Corsairs on the Barbary Coast. And I'll just read a few more. Just want to, a lot of references, but I want to give people a feel. Clarence Dana Roulard, The Turk and French History, Thought and Literature, 1520 to 1660. See, the references are important. One of the main comments that I've gotten about ones from several people, over 30, 40 people, that said what they like most about the book is the extensive use of references. So that's why I'm reading some of the references. And there's some, I'm talking about maybe I've read 20, but I got over 100. I'll read a few more. Calendars of State Papers. England, Edward VI, the Maryland, Queen Elizabeth I. So that's calendars of state papers. The reference to most cruel, this is one of the quotes, The reference to most cruel slavery comes from the day book of Thomas Herodant's clerk of the Bottols out of gates, 1583 to 1600s. This record is from the Guildhall Library, London. Records more than 25 collections from the period between 1587 to 1597. Now that's just 25 collections for a 10-year period, over a 10-year period. I'm reading these to make it very clear that this been documented. That it's not making this up. This been documented. All right? This is a major issue. They've covered it up. It's a major issue. This was a major issue throughout all of Europe. Because they don't talk about it in the public today and in the schools, very clear that these are professors that have courses, but that's not part of the main curriculum. And what they call United States history courses in college. Why not? All right. Read a few more. No, that'll be it for that. You have London Metropolitan Archives, the Trinity House of Deptford Transaction, 1609 to 1635, Browse Collection, London Records Society. This series contains a number of volumes published by the London Record Society. So I'm giving you names, London Record Society. These include transcripts, translations, abstracts, and lists of primary sources related to the history of London. That's the London, A Brief for Captives, 1620, 1690, London Guildhall Library, London, all right, Delvin Record Office, all right, that's British Library, London. Give me references, where to get the information. So as long as this is not put out for public consumption, then you don't have the basis to challenge the transatlantic slave trade claim. We accept it, which is logical for us to accept it if you don't have something to counter it. And all you've been taught and indoctrinated with is that, Europeans are so horrible and, man, they trapped, Ted Pennon in the hells and holes of ships. And that's resonated with us. All right. Continue right along. All right. So what I do is I'm going to give you some pointers on which to re-examine the transatlantic slave trade story. Treaties between Morocco and England. There were tribute treaties whereby the Europeans negotiated treaties with us to pass the seas. In order for them to pass along the high seas, they would have to pay us annual tribute, and this was negotiating the treaties. I have some of the treaties between England and Morocco for 1630s to 1700s, early 1700s, in this book. Now, page 110. Now, the question would be, if the Europeans had all this power controlling the seas, they controlled the seas, why were they paying the Moors annual tribute? I mean, you would ask that question, of course, because you're logical thinkers. You would ask, why did the Europeans pay the Moors tribute to pass the high seas? Because they didn't have control of the seas. That's why. They needed permission. They had to pay. There was no free passage. If they going back, they had to pay. This is documented. European powers paying annual tribute to Morocco. Wars between Moors and Europeans. Wars at sea. Now I'm going to get into our controlling Europe, our empire in Europe, after I finish reading this. Moorish captivity of European Europeans. European nations paying ransom to Morocco for the release of Europeans held in Moorish captivity. Letters between Moorish emperors and European kings and queens addressing the issues of tribute payments, captivity, sieging of ships, sending and receiving ambassadors. Petitions by Europeans to kings and queens of Europe to negotiate the release of their loved ones held in Moorish captivity. There were Europeans who could not afford the ransom to ransom their husbands or sons, as they were captains and merchants and sailors, and they were seized at sea by us. They couldn't afford, so they would petition King Charles, King Charles V, King Charles I, James I, King Charles II, Queen Elizabeth, William of Orange, Queen Mary. They would petition on behalf of their loved ones that the various kings or queens of Europe would negotiate the release of their loved ones from our captivity. This is documented, family. We have more power than what you think. Europeans' redemption orders to raise money to pay the ransom of Europeans held in Moorish captivity. There were orders, charity orders, religious orders, charity orders, or ransom orders that were established. Now you would have, today, they have charity boxes at churches. But what's the origin of that? The charity box concept came in play around the 1100s. In 1193, you have the Trinitarian order that was established in Spain. The Mercedarian order established in 1203 in France. And these were orders, redemption orders, for the sole that was established for the sole purpose of raising lots of finance to pay for the ransom. There were priests who went on redemption missions, who visited the prisons, who visited the galleys and visited the slave markets, who would negotiate and pay for the release of Europeans and Englishmen and Dutch and French and Portuguese and Welsh and Germans and Scots and Irish out of Moorish captivity, out of Moorish jails and Moorish slave auctions. This is documented. So this great power that the Europeans had to transport 10 million of Africans from the continent of Africa to the Americas. Show me where it is. Anybody? I'm showing you here. They didn't have it. It wasn't like that. It wasn't the way they're saying it. I'm presenting documentary evidence from notable scholars. Linda Cowley taught at Yale University in the 70s. She currently teaches at Princeton University. While teaching at Yale University, Linda Cowley wrote the book Captive, which is the main title, Britain, Empire, and the World, 1600 to 1850. And in the book, she chronicles the war of 1664 between us, Morocco, and England, where we captured 10,006 Englishmen and women in 1664. She mentions that this knowledge is covered up because the British would appear to be weak in our eyes. See, they can't afford to see them as weak in relationship to us. They have to present this air of superiority, always, air of domination, always over us, so that we can what? Submit to them mentally. Submit to them. This great Europeans who conquered the African kingdoms. You know, the African kingdoms didn't have military power, How poor are these? Yeah. That's a sign of weakness. They're presenting us in a weak light. Weakness. When they write about history, it's like they present themselves as the dominant. And we have subjects. Weak. Weak. That's what they wanted to do. What is the political motive of the history? It's to present them as weak. It's to present them opposite to who they are. So that what? They could ever submit to us. Yes, master. Though we don't say yes, master, out of our mouth. There is a submission. That's what they wanted. It's psychological. Pictures like this breaks that. Why are people gravitating to this? Because for the first time they see us in a position of power in relationship to the Europeans. We're not talking about where we are ruling some African kingdom and ruling our own people. We're not talking about that. I'm not talking about that. I am talking about rulership over the Europeans. I'm talking about Europeans paying us annual tribute. I'm talking about this. This is different. There's no public discussion on this. Though there's writings, I got you, right? There's writings on this. Absolutely. And you have Robert Davis, teaches at Ohio State University, teaches Italian Renaissance history. But it's what? It's an elective. It's not part of the main history curriculum whereby 20,000 students at Ohio State University is taking this course. Ohio State, or 50,000. You may have maybe 100. They take it. It's an elective for them. 100 Europeans, or some of us in there, and we're taking Robert Davis' course. He may have, he might be in an auditorium. You may have 150 students taking this course. But they're taking it as an elective. After the course, do they really remember anything of it? Is it really something that's impacted to them? They may talk about a little here and there, but not something that of note that's really impactful. All right, it's an elective. All right, they take it just it's an interesting title to them. They're trying to get a grade. They're trying to graduate. So it's not part of the main. You have Linda Colony at Princeton University. For that, Yale University. Nabir Matar, University of Minnesota. James Brodman, who's before he retired, taught at University of Arkansas. Noted historians in the 1800s. Historian James Morgan, Joseph Morgan. Charles Sumner. They call the abolitionists Charles Sumner. Why is this not known? Why is it not taught in the schools? Why is it not part of the main history curriculum? United States history. European history. Oh, I'm going to take a course in European history. And don't mention anything about the Moors. That book is trash. How in the world you want to take a course in European history? And I ask you about the Moors. And you go, huh? You say you took a course in European history. Moors. Huh? There's a book called The History, a 3-volume book. The History of the Moorish Empire. I'm going to put this up so y'all can keep seeing this. The History of the Moorish Empire in Europe by S.P. Scott, volumes 1, 2, and 3. The Golden Age of the Moors, edited by Ivan Van Sertima. A compilation of over 20 articles with a bibliography section of 40 pages. 40 pages of bibliographies. 40 pages. They came before. You have J. Rogers' book, Nature Knows No Color Line. And J. Rogers' book, chapter 6, The Negro as Moor, and there's more quotations, the Negro as Moor, and the European aristocratic families. And in there he shows over 100 coat of arms and family crests of European nations and coat of arms of European aristocratic family. Talk aristocrats. That's important. We're not talking about peasantry, poor Europeans. We're talking about the elite, the aristocrats, the aristocracy throughout Europe. He has over 50 names that are derived from Moor. Greek German form, Italian form, French form, Scottish form, Welsh form, English form of Moor. Europeans have added their family names. Dark olive Moors, my complexion darker, and European family crests. The patron saint, not was, is the patron saint. If I ask you, who's the patron saint of Germany? Huh? Who is the patron saint of Germany? Guess what? Somebody that look like Wesley Snipes. Someone as dark as Wesley Snipes is the patron saint of all of Germany. His name is Saint Maurice, lived in the 1100s. He is the patron saint. Bow down, worship. He is the patron saint of all of Germany. What am I doing, my family? Is I'm killing the Europeans. Don't like us because of the color of our skin. The Europeans don't like us because of the color of our skin. I'm killing that. That is a false paradigm. How in the world the aristocrats of all of Europe have in their family crest someone darker than me? And proud to show it. They don't like us because of the color of our skin. Title, Nature Knows No Color Line. And I'll break down the color, though that's the legal meaning of that. But let it sink in your head of this paradigm of Europeans don't like us because of our skin tone. We ruled Europe for almost 800 years. Not only did we have a presence, we had government structure, a Moorish empire in Europe for almost 800 years. 5 Moorish dynasties ruling for almost 800 years, from 711 to 1492. From 1492 to 1580, we the Moors were at the zenith of sea power. 1492 to 1580. There's a book called Discovery of America, The Outgrowth of the Conquest of the Moors. Authors unknown. Pulitzer marketed that book in his first edition of a newspaper, New York newspaper. Pulitzer Prize, Pulitzer. Discovery of America, The Outgrowth of the Conquest of the Moors. One of my co-workers asked me, former co-worker, history teacher at the school where I was working, in 2011, I was talking to him about this book as I was excited because I had done a lot of research in the summer because this is the first day back to school. So I had spent a lot of time in the summer working on it and very enthusiastic of what I had worked on and things I had uncovered and so forth. And I was in this classroom talking about some of the restoration and decolonization. Now, all this part of the landmass is not all of America. It is a portion of America. North America, South America, Central America, and the Jordan Islands. In a couple months, since I'm on that topic, real quickly, I'll show you the title. American or United States citizen? And I'll be back to break that down when the book comes out. Looking at about maybe 2 to 3 months. American or United States citizen? I actually wrote this book in 2006. So this is I added about 100 pages to the book. The first title is The Deceptive Meaning Attributed to the Name America and American, How the Europeans Falsely Claimed the Land of the Moors. I thought that title was a little bit too long, so I wanted a shorter title to make it more marketable, to connect with the people. So a sister suggested this title, American, question mark, or United States citizen, question. Now, we know the most general public would look at it as, why is the title? Therefore, Donald Trump, you're not an American. It's just that simple. It is that simple. It is just that simple. Let's not complicate this. It's that simple. What the issue is, because of European colonization and social engineering, the native people, millions of the native people who inhabit this part of Morocco, America, living in the cities. Millions of the native people who inhabit this part of Morocco, America, who live in the cities, are classified as black, Negro, colored, African American, Latino, Spanish, Puerto Rican. They are millions of the natives of the land. However, they don't know that they're natives. They've been conditioned to call the natives, they think that the natives live on reservations. They'll say, well, I'm African American. They are Native Americans. Yeah, they are American Indians. They're the original people in the land. I'm from Africa. My ancestors came over here, the white man brought my ancestors over here, and the hells of holes is welcome, everyone. This is my name is Abdullah El Talib Mosi Bey, and this is my new book. It's been out for about almost 3 months. It's called Moors and Masonry. I actually spent about 20 years of research working on this book. Now, what I do is I make the connection between Moors and Masonry. Now, on the front cover, I have, most people, because of European social engineering, think that this landmass is the United States. And the general public also thinks that the Star-Spangled Banner, the red, white, and blue, is the American flag. And we already understand why that's. We'll go into that as well. Now, on the front cover, what I do is I actually place our people, Moors, in a proper perspective. This is an act of nationalization. It's placed the Moorish flag, which is the American flag. This is the Star-Spangled Banner. This is the American flag. The name American does not come from the name America Vespucci. The name American is actually, we have Maghreb, Morocco. So Morocco and America are related linguistically. There's a shift in pronunciation. There's a shift in vowels. So when I say America, Morocco, America is Morocco. Morocco is America, one and the same. But we've been conditioned through European social engineering is to interchange the name American with the generic term United States, as though they have the same meaning, same origin. If you were to ask Donald Trump, are you native to the land? Donald Trump will say no, answer no. Donald Trump, are you indigenous to the land? Donald Trump would answer no. Donald Trump, are you aboriginal to the land? Donald Trump would answer no. Donald Trump, are you the original people of the land? Donald Trump will answer no. Using that syllogism, idle, they mean the same thing. Don't they mean the same thing? An American is a United States citizen. A United States citizen is an American. You're going to hear that. You'll probably hear that in most parts of the world. That's because of European social engineering. All right? Now, this book, Moors and Masonry, Part 2, I'm looking to put this out in the fall of this year. Restoring the federal government and the Imperial Divan to the Moors, colonization and secession. So on the front cover, that's why this is images are good. On the front cover, I have here. This represents, you see here, denationalization and state cession. So when you see, you'll often see a lot of this during the Egyptian New Year, what they call which is the July 4th. They'll call the Independence Day, but it's actually the Egyptian New Year actually did that, and you can go on to the YouTube to look that up. This represents colonization and secession. So the Europeans actually are claiming our land, and this part, what I do is going back to restoration.